Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. I'm your host, Jet, still viewing and reviewing the soapiest, sudsiest primetime storylines of 1985. So go ahead and settle in. Whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, cool, quiet, or kicked out are your only options because we are watching our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Lore. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. How y'all feeling today? I tell you what, I'm feeling inspired, even if this recording might be a little bit on the raggedy side. We're going to get through this with the quickness because I got a lot of stuff to do today. Alexis Carrington has terrible children. All of them. 75% of them are awful at any given point. How y'all feeling today? Everybody feeling good? I hope so. You smell good, I can tell. Hope you are relaxing. Hope the world is still not dragging you down. Baby, this is the place where we come to kick back, relax, and soak up some of this soap opera glory. Dynasty. If you haven't had an opportunity to listen to the Laura Van Wormer episode, I hope you go back and do so. Part 2 of that interview is coming up here in probably a week. But she had so much insight, specifically about that era of television writing and Dynasty specifically. She's friends with the Shapiros, and I was totally shocked to learn that, as she described them, they were a couple of hippies. I don't know if I thought very much about who they were, but the whole point of Dynasty was that they wanted to show people how to be rich or how the rich lived behind closed doors. Perhaps there hadn't been anything. It's not like it's investigative journalism, but it was just sort of a new twist on something that had always been very, very visual. So she and I were chatting about it, and I said, Dynasty has that thing. They have that, let me narrate everything that's going on. And I always took that as a weird beat in the writing. And she's like, no. The whole point of this is that this is supposed to be from Crystal's point of view. Crystal is a fish out of water. She's coming in here as a degular woman who is learning to be rich. So when Blake is explaining things to her, or Fallon or anyone else, they're explaining to her, and thus the audience, how to be glamorous, wealthy, rich, and all that. Okay, it makes me look at Dynasty a little bit differently. Doesn't make me enjoy it any less. And by the time we have gotten to season 5, I think they've really hit their stride in a lot of ways, but they still be doing some explaining. They're not doing the whole, I'm going to narrate this whole episode for you, but there is a whole lot of explaining. And on this episode in particular, it's all about Alexis, baby. Not on bail, fresh out of jail. She's got a whole lot to work through this episode. So go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright. Let's jump into season 5, episode 8, The Secret. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We're going to go ahead and start off with the bit players this episode. Bit player, the bittiest of players, the brittlest, the bitterest, the bittiest of players is Mr. Blake V. Carrington. He is feeling himself. I wish I had this man's confidence. He's been broke more times than a little bit. He's been mortified even more than that. But all it took was $70 million from his sister from the same mister, allegedly. And now he's back in there like swimwear, baby. He is him. It's almost as if he feels like he brought himself up out of it. There is no shame. The shambles that he was rummaging through are all but gone. The shackles have been removed. Blake Carrington is back in that thing. Now he needs a favor. Now that people aren't ignoring his phone calls, now that he's no longer persona non grata, never mind the fact that he may or may not have been funding some sort of overseas government attack. Now that he's back in there, his wells are making money, he needs other people to do his bidding. So he goes over to his sister from the same mister, who he still won't acknowledge, and he says, "Hey, Dominique, listen, I sure appreciate that $70 million you cut your boy, but I need you to continue to do work on my behalf. I need you to figure out where Rashid Ahmed is." She's looking at him like, no, what that got to do with me? Rashid Ahmed, why would I? Why? Talk to me. What do you need me to know? Blake explains to her that Rashid had set him up. So now I need to set him up back. But if I come walking out like the Crypt Creeper, he's going to know that it's me. So I need you to do it. You're the only person in the world who can figure out where this man is. You need to get on your Carmen Sandiego in between your illustrious music career at La Mirage. And I need you to get Rashid Ahmed to admit that he played me, that he set me up. She's like, okay. I mean, I'm not a PI. I don't know why you don't just take like 30,000 of the $70 million I gave you and hire a PI. But okay, I guess if you want me to do your dirty work, I'll do it. I'll do it, Blake. So long as you acknowledge me in front of the world as your sister. Do you know this man has the audacity to stand in front of her, cock his head to the side and be like, I mean, I don't know, Dominique. I'll be devil's advocate here just for a second. Jet will play devil's advocate. Nobody seemed to think to run a DNA test, something, a little blood test. That'll make it real clear. I'm just so shocked that there's not more gratitude. It's simply, what else can you do for me? You gave me $70 million to stay afloat. Cool. Could you go also globetrot and find this guy who embarrassed me this one time? Absolutely not, Blake. The only comfort I take in this is that she plans to take him down. Now, this man walks into more traps than anyone else I've ever seen. It's like he's always the villain on the Scooby-Doo episode. Okay, what's another bit player on this episode? Crystal. Crystal goes to the doctor. I keep forgetting that she's pregnant. But then I'm reminded when I see her and she looks like a choir director who loves carpeted robes for some reason. Every outfit, every single one is hideous, heinous, and a crime against humanity. Starting out with, it's almost like a sailor's outfit, but it's a choir robe. If you grew up Boom Baptist or ever been to a church where they have a giant choir, or if you live in the South, just even a small one, choir robes were a thing for a long time. I guess it was a way to look uniform, make sure none of your jiggly bits was moving about if you caught the Holy Ghost or something. She's got picture a judge's robe. There you go. Picture a judge's robe. But then think about like your grandma's couch circa 1988. If she had quote unquote good taste, let's say she was a little bit more modern. Think dark floral. Think lavenders and teals and those sort of colors that look good. Think Golden Girl. But then make it a judge's robe, but make the bib of it look like a sailor. And they put that on with a straight face and walk around on the set of Dynasty like nothing is wrong. I don't even know what the hell they talked about this whole thing. It's Claudia the Stallion and Crystal Night Court Carrington. I think they're talking about Steven, but I watched it 2 or 3 times back and all I can think is, girl, I can't hear you over this choir robe. I believe they were talking about Steven, but we're going to have to wind that back because plot twist I didn't see coming. I think Steven might accidentally get himself a love interest, a male love interest. It doesn't seem like the feeling is mutual at this point, but we'll come back to that. Plus, after I wound it back, I figured out who this kid is. Steven, I think you need to walk far, far away. And I will tell you all why here in just a few moments. But before we go there, I want to remind you that it is now possible for your gorgeous, silky, velvety voice to be on Soap Floor if you so choose to do so. You can reach out in the show notes and send me a text anytime you want. Hey, Jet, I had that same choir robe. It was fire back in the day. You don't know what you're talking about. Or Jet, no, you was right. I don't know why she was walking around looking like Della Reese, but that's her business. Let's let her be her. You can send a text via the show notes. There is a link that says send us a text. If you click that same link, there is an option to send a voice note. I believe you have up to 1 minute and 20 seconds, so say what's on your mind. I'd love to share it if you are comfortable doing so. If you're not comfortable with either one of those options, or you're listening to this in the office and you're feeling rebellious, go ahead and send me an email. I can be reached at soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. So Crystal, reaches into her maternity bag and she puts on a normal outfit to go to her doctor just to make sure that everything was Gucci and golden. This is a miracle pregnancy. She wants to make sure that she can carry it to term. She's avoiding steps. She's not riding horses out in the middle of nowhere lest someone fire off a gun and she gets drugged the length of a football field twice. She's doing everything she can. And her doctor's like, Crystal, I am so impressed with you, my dear. You are as healthy as a horse. I'm sorry to bring up old memories. I don't mean no disrespect. She's like, I'm over that. It's cool. He says, well, good. You are healthy. You can do whatever you need to. You're 7 months pregnant. So, ride this thing out. You'll have a kid in no time. She goes, well, would it be okay for me to go back to work? I wonder. No, I don't wonder, because the doctor would know at this point that she is Blake Carrington's very, very wealthy, now very, very wealthy. That does tend to change from month to month. So I guess once the insurance bill cleared, he knew that she was back on the up and up. So when she asked him if she can go back to work, he's like, of course you can. Probably thinking, yeah, go ahead and go back to work, secure some funds just in case the check bounces once you start pushing. He doesn't put her on bed rest. He doesn't tell her to take it easy. Mind you, her job is in PR, so it's not like she's going to do anything physically strenuous. It could be a little bit stressful. She and Blake getting a little bit of a tuft over it later on because he doesn't want her to be hurt on the job. He doesn't want her stressed. He wants her in that securely paid for house. She needs to be bossing the staff around. She needs to be wearing hideous robes, and she needs to be raising his latest spawn. Which brings us to the top of the episode. When last we left, Alexis was fresh out of jail. She needed to feel like herself again. She'd had to wear jail clothes and court clothes. Now she wants to wear Denver clothes, which I guess in her opinion is an all brown fur outfit. I did say she looked like Chewbacca. Some of you agreed. But I didn't say she didn't look good as Chewbacca. Hear me out. Just because if you say, Jet, you look like Patti LaBelle in that shimmery shirt. I might have my feelings hurt until I remember who Patti LaBelle is. Chewbacca's an icon, and so is Alexa. So she comes home from jail. She's in her all-fur outfit from head to toe when Darth Vader, a.k.a. her daughter Amanda, comes from upstairs. Amanda has way too much access to this woman's house. Alexis, get a security system with the quickness. But they kind of had a standoff. And as they're having the standoff, we've learned the truth behind Amanda's identity. And it went a little something like this. Amanda grew up in England, and she was raised by this couple. I don't remember the dad's name, but the mom's name was Rosalind. So she grew up knowing who Alexis was, but she thought that was her auntie. Girl's about 20, 21 years old, so at some point she decides she needs her birth certificate, which is pretty normal. Maybe she's going to school or something. Come to find out, when she gets the birth certificate, she sees that it's not Rosalind's name on it, but it's Alexis's name on it. So then she starts thinking, wow, wait a minute. Not Alexis who's in court right now for allegedly killing a man. She living in a penthouse. Not Alexis who put her sons in charge of her case and then one in charge of her company. Not that Alexis. Not Alexis who was written up as Fallon's mother who was going to be married. She feels away. She came from the other side of a pond to check this woman. No DNA tested. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. She's Alexis's daughter. So immediately she's holding a grudge. She's giving Adam. So this is what I find very interesting. When you look at the Carrington family, and it appears that this girl could possibly be a Carrington. I'll get to that here in a second. But when you look at the children raised in the Carrington household versus the one who was left out in the rain and the other one who was sent to England to live with a perfectly lovely couple, as far as we can tell, what you find is the ones who didn't grow up in the household got that dog in them. They're a little grittier. They're a little grimier. They're not really concerned with upholding the name. They understand that Carrington could be a weapon. It could be weaponized to their advantage. But do they care about representing the Carringtons in the world? Not really. And this is just from this one episode. So Amanda's like, dude, it's one thing to have me, but it's one thing to play in my face and not let me know you were my mom this whole time. Why didn't you claim me? Alexa's like, you just don't even understand. I was going through a rough time. I had to leave my 2 children previously. And I left one out in the rain and got kidnapped. So, by baby number 4, I was just like, I didn't know what to do. Amanda demands to know, well, who is my daddy? Alexa says, girl, I don't know. I didn't add names. Gross. All I know is that he was a ski instructor. So it's like the next night, Alexis is in the penthouse, and I want the record to reflect that she is in a white off the shoulder or just one shoulder dress. Her hair is up. She has a little bit, it's not a cape. I don't even want to call that. The point I'm trying to make is that from what I can tell, Alexis has a very specific aesthetic. She loves, once every other episode, she's going to show you that shoulder. She ain't going to do nothing else. You're going to see me. You're going to see one cold shoulder. I'm going to be moisturized. I'm going to be fabulous. I'm going to dress in a theme at some point too during the episode. But what I've never seen her in is a full cape. She might drape a bit of fabric off of the other shoulder, but not no damn cape, Stephen. Pay attention. So Stephen's there, Adam's there, Dexter's there, Claudia's there, and they are celebrating the fact that Alexis is out of the clink. She's back at the helm at Colby Co. And things are looking up and up. Let's put a quick little pin in that because I got to rewind it back just a little bit. Stephen also at the top of the episode is in the office. He is slowly packing his things. He's kind of got his tail between the legs. He's looking real down. Some kid comes to the door and he knocks and he's like, yo, hi, I'm so-and-so. Can you sign these paper? I'm the new PR person. I only know that because I rewound it back. I was ignoring him at first, just thinking, dang, Alexis is going through that whole revolving door of new assistants. Didn't even blink twice at the kid. He and Stephen have a real brief exchange. The kid insists, like, okay, I really need you to sign this. But Stephen says, well, my mom will be back tomorrow. I kind of technically don't work here. And the dude's like, I get that. I really do understand that, but I need these papers signed. So he's making conversation with Stephen, and he does invite him to lunch. Right about that time, Claudia shows up, and here we have hideous outfit number 2. I think what is happening here is that she has like this tweed sports coat. I think somebody either cut the sleeves off and tried to tuck it in. So you know what that kind of looks like, the that they give you when you go to the dentist and you do your x-rays, that heavy lead thing they put over your chest and then put you in that stupid swivel with that uncomfortable thing in your mouth. It looks like that. It's very football shoulders, extra thick. So again, I was so distracted by what she was wearing. I didn't really hear what her and Stephen were talking about. I get the gist that she wanted him to come to lunch or something, but he said he was busy. He needed to go take care of some business. The business he needed to go take care of was going to his mother to apologize for pointing the finger at the bad guy, saying, I saw my mother flip a man over the side of her balcony. I'm going to let bygones be bygones this one time because ain't no way you can get an accurate view of anybody looking straight up. I will admit, even me, I might have been deceived, but let the record reflect. This woman does not wear synthetic hair wigs, number 1. Number 2, how is a man with no makeup mistaken for your mother in a cape, Stephen? A cape? Get real. Be so for real. Anyway, back to this little party where Alexis's shoulders are out. I just want to reiterate that one more time. I don't think it'll come up again, but let the record reflect. Shoulders out. She has a drape, not a cape. Everyone is toasting because she and Stephen have made up. Now, mind you, they probably made up because he apologized. Mom, I'm so sorry that I pointed the finger at the bad guy and said that you was the one who flipped Mark Jennings over the side of the balcony. She says, Stephen, I understand you had to do what you had to do. I only think she is forgiving him because she knows that Amanda's in town and she's going to have to explain once again, oh, by the way, guys, you have a sister, and there's probably something a little more nefarious going behind her paternity there. So as everyone is toasting and they're just, y'all the best, Claudia says, you know what? Shout out to the best detectives in Denver, Dexter, and Adam Carrington. Well, as everybody's feeling real jolly, I think they're about to hit the club, Amanda walks in like she was invited. Too much access. Amanda doesn't just walk in like she was invited. Amanda walks in and she's like, oh, hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. You look cute. Hey, girl. I wanted you to see this before it came out tomorrow. Tell me why it is a full front page spread blowing up Alexis's spot. So she just just got out of jail, just got her company back, no longer wanted for murder, no longer on the run from Blake, only, and I do mean only, to have the headline Alexis Colby's secret revealed splashed all over the Denver Chronicle. Front page. It is two fantastic headshots of these actresses. Alexis is so put off. I can't believe this little. You really put my whole business out there. So now Steven's like, wait, who is this? Claudia looks like, oh, I should have took 2 volumes today. Dex begins to read it right as Alexis reaches back through New Mexico, up through Nevada, back. Well, okay, wrong side of the state. Okay, let's do that again. She reaches back to Houston, comes up through the Great Plains, across the Rocky Mountains, and Amanda's face. Cut, tap, pow, 5 fingers to the face. Amanda slowly turns her head back like, do it again. She didn't even flinch. She didn't flinch. She just took the hit and then rolled her neck back like, and... Side note, somebody needs to pull Adam aside and explain to him, half-sister is still a sister. There's no moral workaround for that one, Adam, because when she walked in, he looked real excited. It takes me back to one of my first ever texts I got where someone said about Adam and Fallon in that episode where I think it's called Siblings, where they finally meet and they're like swimming together and they almost totally hook up. Someone said, I think Adam would have been 100% okay. I think he seems like he still would have been okay with them hooking up even after he found out that they were siblings. I get that vibe. He's looking at Amanda like she's a whole snack, even after she's been smacked across the face because it's been, her secret is out there. So Adam ends up taking her to lunch a little bit later, and they have an interesting conversation. So these are the 2 cast-offs. Oddly enough, they're also the bookends. They're the first and the last child. They start bonding over what it feels like to discover your identity because much like Amanda, Adam woke up one day as Michael. Next day, he's Adam. He's like, yeah, it was kind of rough, but I feel like I've gotten the best of it. Oh, wait. I gotta tell y'all about this part. So Jeff is drunk as a skunk this episode. Adam and Amanda walk into La Mirage to have a little lunch. Jeff comes up to them to make a scene. I don't really understand this. I tried to make this make sense 2 or 3 times, but I couldn't. He comes up to him and he's like, I'm sorry, is this the receiving line? Oh, he's just being weird. He introduces himself to Amanda. I don't know if he's trying to check her or what. And he's like, and who are you again? Adam's like, please don't play dumb. You were at the party yesterday. Jeff begins to get loud. Adam's like, hey, bruh. I know you on one right now, but I need you to calm the F down. Jeff proceeds to get even louder. We're Carringtons and Colbys. Everyone knows who we are. Everyone's always looking at us. I really don't understand what that is. You want to enlighten me? Cool. It just seemed like a throwaway scene. It seemed like there was no reason for him to be there. Anyway, they sit down over dinner or lunch or whatever, talking about how it feels to be outcast, how it feels to have a brand new identity out of nowhere, what the mother's like. And she begins to ask questions about Blake Carrington. She goes, God, he must be such a generous man. Oh, wait, let me rewind it back just a little bit. I understand now why. I think the only reason Jeff came through is so that they could bring up Fallon again. It seems like Jeff might have been a little bit attracted to her. It seems like Adam's a lot a bit attracted to her, honest to God. But Adam, once Jeff leaves, tells Amanda, hey, don't even worry about that. You just remind him of Fallon. So she starts asking about Fallon. Well, you're beautiful like her. You're young like her. You've got her fighting spirit. I'm not going to insult y'all, but you know I'm going to insult y'all just a little bit. You know how I feel about Fallon. Amanda seems to have a little bit more bite, but I would just say Alexis Carrington's daughters don't play with her. They're going to let her know how they feel either way, and she doesn't really seem to do much about it. Amanda wants to know if Blake is a generous guy. Adam's like, yeah, he's really cool. He's been nothing but good to me. That may not be the case for other people, but he's been nothing but good to me. Amanda says he must be generous and he must be ruthless. Adam's like, well, what do you mean by ruthless? She says, if Alexis is afraid of him, if she had to run from him, there's probably a pretty good reason. And she don't say it like out loud, but seems like she's curious as to why that was a thing. What I'm saying is this woman is building up her ammo. She's building up some ammunition. She's already collected receipts. She's already went to the press. She is, as they say in PR, she's controlling the narrative very, very well. And Alexis seems to be in a little bit of a scramble. Dex wants to take Alexis on a romantic getaway. He wants to take her on a romantic getaway so that he can ask her to marry him, but she didn't really want to leave. Things are a little iffy in town right now. She's like, I can't leave. I need to stick around. I need to make sure everything is everything. He gets pissed and he's like, I'm not going to keep asking you to marry me. If you want to be with me, this is the time to do it. If you don't, then Alexis, that's it. Never mind. I'm not doing it ever again. All she has to do is shimmy a little shoulder. He tries to walk off. That kind of turns him on, I feel like, when they fight with each other. They're both fiery personalities. So after a good spat, she's looking at him, he's looking at her. They begin to make out. And next thing you know, they're doing the grown-up. I need to figure out what Alexis is putting on over her lip gloss. Because her and Dex, they do that. They do the movie kiss where they press their faces together and they vigorously rub in opposite directions. That gloss, anybody who wears gloss knows it's gone. Hers is never gone. I need to know what they're doing. You think it's like a silicone mask or something? I'm going to find out. Well, anyway, after they make sweet, sweet love, while Dex is passed out in the bed, Alexis can't stop worrying. She's like, I can't believe this girl showed up to my house to disrespect me in front of my other kids, in front of the kids I want. So she does what any rational woman does. She gets up in the dark of night, goes to make a phone call. In all honesty, it's probably early morning in England, so it's not that bad. But she gets on the phone and she calls her sister Rosalind. Rosalind is used to Alexis's shenanigans. I can tell by the way that she didn't even bat an eye. But more importantly, I know Rosalind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this episode of Soap Lore, this episode of Dynasty had two faces I actually recognized. Rosalind is none other than the incomparable, the iconic Tabitha of Timmy and Tabitha, amen, from the smash hit daytime soap opera Passions. Breathe in, breathe out, you keep me alive. Na, 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 na. I get that in Dawson's Creek and then a couple other songs kind of mixed together. Everything from like 1999 to 2005, as far as the opening credit songs, all kind of sound a little bit alike, but my passion for life is my favorite. It is Tabitha. I was like, oh my gosh, she's not a witch yet. This is awesome. Tabitha is not worried about, Rosalind. Rosalind is not worried about Alexis. Alexis is going off, Rosalind, how you let this girl see her birth certificate? She said, man, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine, Alexis. Rosalind, do you know she showed up and embarrassed me, put my name all in the papers? I had to slap her. Rosalind's like, listen, things just got out of pocket. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Alexis like, well, let me tell you this. This is what I know, Rosalind. If Blake calls you, you better not fold. You better not say nothing. You don't know who my baby daddy is, okay? I ain't told you nothing. You don't know. I just showed up with the kid as far as you know. You better not say nothing, Rosalind, because if you do, I'm going to tell everybody that your husband embezzled. I'm going to tell everybody that your husband embezzled that money from that company before it went bottoms up, okay? I'm going to blow up everybody's spot. I promise you, Rosalind. Rosalind continues to eat her little scone, or in my mind, she's eating a quiche because Tabitha loves quiche. And she says, I know, Alexis, and you always keep your promises. I cannot convey to you guys enough how unbothered Rosalind is, which tells me one of two things. Rosalind also has an arsenal of information filled with receipts and whatnot, or Alexis pulls this same stunt every 2 days. She's used to this woman calling and cussing her out. She didn't even blink twice. She went right back to watching her stories. All right, girl, bye, baby. Hung up the phone, went about her business. But now we know Alexis is freaking the F out because the closer this little girl gets to finding out who her father is, the more trouble it's going to be for Alexis. I am starting to think that it is Blake, just based on the way Dynasty talks. They don't bring up nothing for no reason. Not that specific, you know what I'm saying? They don't keep going on and on about something unless it's going to come up again. Let's rewind a little bit further back. Alexis is in her all peach bedroom. I've never hated the color peach. But it's just one of those, like, I'm not a fan of orange. The older I get, the more I like it. I think I've seen it done a little bit more creatively, but she is laid out in a silk and carpeted peach bedroom feeding her dog eggs when Amanda comes strolling in her riding boots. This is right after she was freshly slapped. They do end up making up. Alexis tries her best to explain, listen, I'm sorry that things happened the way they did, but I'm here now. You're out. Everybody knows I'm your mom now. Can we just keep it at that? Can we just start for fresh? And Amanda's like, okay, cool. I have to rewind a little bit more because I forgot that Stephen was so messy. Stephen and Claudia were so messy at breakfast. Yeah, they may be having their new marital woes that they started sprinkling in this season. But I know for a fact, after Amanda got slapped, they went home, put on their pajamas, and talked crap all night. They couldn't wait to tell Blake and Crystal the tea the next morning. So Blake sees the paper and he's like, yo, that's crazy. She's going to have to sue these people, or she's going to have to admit this is really her daughter. That's what Steve was like, well, you know what Mama did? Pimp slapped this girl in front of everybody. Right across the face. Claudia's like, yep, she did. She definitely did. He then begins to just sort of defend her, like, she's probably having a really rough time. This can't be easy. Either whether this is true or not, it's got to be a little bit rough on her. But then he begins to ask, like, what is she like? That's when they start saying, she's really feisty. She acts just like Fallon, this and that. Okay, I am under the impression that Fallon will be recast, but the more I think about it, it's like, did they replace or recast her? I'm assuming she's not dead. I just don't. I'm sorry. If I don't see a body, they're not dead on a soap opera. And that's hadn't been wrong yet. Well, Falcon Crest is whatever. We're going to move on. You know what I'm saying? If you disappear, there's not really a trace. All we have is some ambiguous jewelry that was found. Then no, that she's probably going to pop up at some point with amnesia. Just be living in Brussels or something. Okay, so it's sort of sprinkled throughout the episode how much Amanda is reminding everyone of Fallon by her feistiness, and the implication is that we don't know who her dad is, so it could literally be anybody. But based on Alexis being nervous and whatnot, it's probably somebody very, very specific. So let's fast forward to Alexis and Amanda being cool with each other after they have, had their little cussed each other out or whatever. Alexis has already called England and threatened her girl, Rosalind, like, you better stop playing with me or I'm going to embarrass you and your dead husband. She and Amanda decide it's time to go eat a little bit of din-din. So they go over to La Mirage. And unfortunately, when they walk in, they can see that Crystal and Blake and Dominique are having a delicious meal. I say they saw, but I think Alexis saw first. Then Amanda sees and she's like, oh, that's Blake Carrington. Let me walk over and say hey to him. That's what I'm talking about. This girl, this is a problem child immediately. She waltzes over. She introduces herself. Blake is very gracious. Everybody, they seem to like her right away. I forgot to tell y'all. We don't know who Amanda's daddy is for sure. It is implied that it could be Blake based on all the clues in the show, but Amanda has taken it upon herself. She says, Alexis, since you had me and your last name was Carrington, I too will carry the name Carrington. And this is where she's going to let Blake know. This is the first time she's ever seen this man. She's never spoken to him a day in her life. But she says, oh, by the way, Blake, hey, I need you to understand that I'm going to be using the name Carrington. When she told this to Alexis beforehand, Alexis was like, no. That name is my past. That name is not your past. But Alexis is getting she's real antsy when she says it. Then I started thinking back. Do y'all remember when she was in the bathroom? I think it might have been at Fallon and Jeff's engagement party, where she slipped and said that she had 4 kids. And then they just kind of never brought it up again. Yeah. I think she didn't want Blake to know because when Crystal asked Blake about it, he was like, no, no, no. There's no babies other than the 3 that she had. I don't know what she's talking about. Well, after he meets with Amanda, he's like, huh, feisty like Fallon. Oh, so it's also revealed in his mind, he's thinking she's like 14, 15 years old. When he finds out that she's 2021, he's like, well, wait a minute. Hold up. And she's going to use my name? So you would have had her the math is starting to math. It's a little bit funny. But the point I'm trying to make to y'all is that Amanda is playing no game. She came out both guns loaded. She is focused and she's already wreaking havoc. Something clicked to me just now too. I just had to rewind to make sure I'm getting all the major spots before we talk about Steven. I got to wrap this up. And I just wanted to see the slap again. So when Alexa slaps her and she turns her head back, she was rolling her face real slow. And it reminded me of one of my favorite movies of all time, Mommy Dearest. Christina was a little bit of a problem child. I've always thought that. I realize this is quote unquote Christina's story. This is her version of events in the house with Joan Crawford. But in the movie, even as a little kid, I was like, I mean, I'm not saying she deserved anything. That's not at all what I'm saying. But she was definitely challenging Joan in her own way. She knew exactly how to get under her mom's skin. So there's a scene where Joan Crawford had just won. I think she just won for Mildred Pierce. She just won the Oscar, but she didn't end up going because she pretended to be sick. So the press came to the door, blah, blah, blah. They took all the pictures, but everybody was really pumped for her. Like the kids were excited. The housing staff was excited. So a little bit later, Christina is at the vanity and I think she's got on a cape or a robe or something. She's just pretending to receive an Oscar. But Joan took, this is not funny. Oh my God. Joan Crawford took that ish personally. Oh, you're making fun of me? This is how you see me? It might have been after the birthday party. I can't remember exactly when it was, but Christina was like, well, damn, no, I'm just doing what I'm doing. But the more I saw that film, I'm like, well, maybe she knew that would piss her off. She couldn't hit her back. She was too small. She couldn't really attack her, but she knew that she had a fragile ego and she just kept poking little holes in it throughout the whole film. Like even Joan had a male friend over at one point, and Christina was. I'm not gonna say she was flirting with him, but she knew her presence in the room would irritate her mom, so she like slowly leaves. She has to eat this raw meat, which is horrible. This is abuse. I'm not absolutely not making fun of abuse, but I am saying there's something about the way that. Oh my God! Hold on. Okay, guys, hold on. In real time, that's not the same girl. There's no way, right? There's no way. There's no way. Okay, when she turned her head to the side after getting slapped, it reminded me of little Christina. Specifically the scene where she refused to eat this undercooked meat for like the 5th night in a row, and she would get up from the table, but she's keeping eye contact with Joan Crawford the whole time and like slinking out the door. It was that kind of audacity. But now I'm saying it out loud, that can't be the same girl. I kind of thought she looked like the actors who played the older Christina. Now I have to look it up. I don't think that could be, because I believe that movie came out in 1981, I think. And then this season of Dynasty is like 1985. So there's probably no way. But crap, I don't want to look her up. And I know what I'll do. I will look up the cast of Mommy Dearest. And if it says Dynasty under the little girl's name, then I'll know that's her. Either way, she looks a lot like her. She's giving that same energy. Maybe I can't destroy you outright. Maybe I don't have all the evidence, but I do know how to poke your ego. I do know how to make you uncomfortable, and I'm going to continue to do that all episode long. I like new edition Amanda. She's already given so much. So let's get back to Steven real quick. So remember, Steven was clearing out the office. The guy comes in. He's making small talk, trying to get Steven to sign these papers so he can do his PR job like a real PR professional. Again, the first time I watched it, I thought he was just one of the secretary boys, was going to get something signed. We're going to see a new one next week. Didn't really look at him twice. Well, later on in the episode, Steven and Claudia are in an argument because he comes from the family gym, you know, the one with the carpet. He comes back from the gym and he's about to change clothes and go hang out with his mom. And Claudia's like, damn, you have a whole son and a whole wife at home. Why don't you have lunch with us? Why are you always running off to your mama? Why are you always running back to work, Steven? I swear this is a setup. You need to focus on home. Do you know what his response is? His response is, he was only fixing my tie. Me and Claudia was like, wait, what? Who? What are you talking about? Then I had to rewind it back. I said, okay, Steven got a crush. Are we going here in 1986? I am shook. I can't believe it. I'm excited. So I rewound it back and I look at the kid again. The kid comes walking in and I didn't recognize him at first. But when I looked at his face, I was like, oh, he's really cute. But then when I look even closer, I'm like, he's really cute and really familiar. Where have I seen that nose from? I started thinking, then I remembered. And then my gut dropped. Steven, this man is cute. I'll give him this. I hadn't seen him young before. He might even be borderline fine. He looks a little too young for me. I feel uncomfortable saying that. That kid looks 19. But he's good looking. But I can tell you with full confidence, in 20 or so years, he is going to beat the dog mess out of J-Lo. That's that man from the movie Enough. Do y'all remember that? He was in it. It was like Jennifer Lopez, Noah Wiley, who's in it for like a brief second. And this kid, whose name I don't care enough to remember about. I will learn it sooner rather than later, though. He was an awful partner. Remember they set her up? They set up the whole thing to where Noah Wiley was a bad guy. He was going to be harassing her on her waitress job. And then Steven's new friend comes in and swoops in and he ends up marrying her. Then he starts cheating on her and then starts beating the dog mess out of her. And she has to train with Krav Maga. Krav Maga was everywhere circa like 2003. She learned it for this fight sequence, and then halfway through the fight, she picks up the phone for a pep talk and is quickly beat down again. I said, girl, you better look at the Tina Turner movie and take some notes. You do not stop midway through a fight to make a phone call, girl. Anyway, I'm just saying, Steven, I don't know if this is a good look. I have kind of wondered with Steven, when they give him a love interest, it's either a super, super docile, fresh out of the mental asylum woman like Claudia the Stallion, no disrespect. And I feel like Ted Denard and she had the same personality, very docile. Steven's going to be your whole world. Or he goes to the complete opposite side of the world and picks Sammy Joe. He want a hood rat for real, for real. Steven likes a challenge. Steven is wanderlust, but he thought he was cute. He only fixed my tie, Claudia. Steven, you're talking about work. What are you talking about? Jeff seems to have taken over Mark's role as the tennis pro at La Mirage. He's out there sweating up a storm one day, just beats the break off this one guy in tennis. And there's this real cute redhead who's watching him from the fence. They have a quick little exchange. They go and have a bite. They decide they're going to go on a date a little long later on. She goes to her room. She's like putting on her clothes or whatever. There's a picture on her dresser. And I'm looking like, oh, that guy's cute. That guy looks familiar. She says she's freshly divorced, but she has like a headshot of her husband. Did she say she's divorced or that he died? I thought she said divorced, but maybe she said he died. Tell me why her husband is none other than Peter Defibrillator. Is she back for revenge? Is she back to start some ish? God, Dynasty Season 5 is giving me everything. And guess what? The episode is still not over. I left out a little bit about Blake. Blake's bit player role this episode is that he asked Dominique to find Rashida Med. Oh, and Blake asked Adam to go with her just so she has like another person there. I don't really know. They're going to go look for Rashida Med. So we're going to bring him back. Blake sees Amanda. He sees her shopping. He hangs out with her a little bit more. And he's probably really missing Fallon. Crystal brings that up a couple times. Blake asks Amanda about her upbringing. She tells him that she grew up in England. So immediately he knows to call Rosalind. Well, listen, Rosalind really don't want no smoke. He demands to know, were you in Switzerland with her when she had this baby? He presses her for all the information. Who is the baby daddy? She's like, I don't know. Why don't you talk to her about it? He's like, Rosalind, quit playing. What year was all this happening? Dude, ask her. I don't know. Rosalind basically tells him, listen, I got a good thing going on here. My girl has been very generous to me, and the last thing I want to do is mess up a good thing. But I will say you do not need me to find this information out. In other words, look somewhere else. I will give Crystal credit. I forgot to say this. She did come out with this leopard sweater. It's white. It's got the shoulder pads. It's really, really cute. I kind of want to wear that today. Last scene of the episode, Blake makes his way over to Alexis's apartment. She tells him, in not so many words, that's not your baby. This is my baby. I don't care what you think you know. This is my baby. You can't have her. He's also pissed because when he talked to Amanda, he figured out her age, and he also remembered that Alexis left around October and that the baby was born the following April. So there is a difference of about 6 months, which means she would have left pregnant. He's like, oh, she says in 2 tears in a bucket. If I did leave pregnant, I wasn't pregnant by you. Could have been anybody. That's a good point because he did beat somebody or try to beat somebody to death. The way she's acting, I think this is Blake's baby. End scene. So very, very good. We got 2 new characters. We have 3 new characters unlocked. We got Steven's new. At least he's got a crush on him at the very least, because why else would he bring that up in the middle of a fight about work? That kid does end up calling him back. There's some sort of spill in Argentina. He's got to get down there, but it doesn't matter at this point. The damage is done. Claudia ends up having a little bit of a snack at the La Mirage, and some guy comes up to talk to her, but it don't really... I'm saying it doesn't seem like anything, but it seems like they are trying to separate them already, so let's just go with that. I'm not really heartbroken, are you? It's interesting, but I'm not that heartbroken. We've got redhead lady who was married to Peter. Who else we got? Rosalind, who's calling from the other side of a pond. Only a matter of time before she makes her appearance in the States, I'm sure. We got Dex asking for marriage. Jeff's got a new love interest. I don't know who this girl... It seems like he's probably going to want Amanda. That just seems like that seems like a filler. He's been obsessed with Fallon since season 1. I cannot imagine that he wouldn't take the next best thing. All right, y'all, that was good. Is Blake Amanda's daddy? I don't know. If it's not Blake, it would have to be another really big character. So we'll give it a little bit of time. Hell, maybe it's the Colbys. Where are the Colbys at? Are we not bringing them in yet? Seems like it ought to happen pretty soon. All right, y'all. I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I apologize for the rush job. I hope you enjoy this episode. We're going to jump back into another fun-filled edition of Soap Floor next time. In the meantime, in between time, get you a reporter or 2 at the Chronicle. You need to know when people are coming in to drop your business. Alexis, also get a security guard at the very least. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.